Okay, so for this session of Nam Academy, we're going to be continuing on with step 3. Step 3 of healing, particularly of the 12-step program model, is so step 3 essentially is we asked that higher power to help us. Okay, so that's kind of me paraphrasing. We asked, specifically what it is we asked God as we understood Him. That's very important because that's different from every person. So this. And everyone's got to start somewhere, and know where someone starts is bad. That's where religion and spirituality diverge. True religion is always spiritual. True religion, as kind of explained by the great people, was very open and accepting of the many starting points. That's true religion. But religion as practiced by humans, it becomes more and more divisive. The more further and further we get from that ideal, the more divisive it becomes. And the trouble with addiction, mental health, severe issues is that we've gotten further and further away from this, I think it's as we understood Him. We got further and further away from this concept of as we understood. It's instead become God as how I understand. But my life is different, my journey is different, and so, depending on, if Earth is like, round, and there's one sun, right? Well, the people over here, it's day. People over here, it's night. Right? One sun. These people are getting the daytime experience. These people are getting the nighttime experience. The characteristics of day is like warm, right? Light. It's what are some other characteristics of day?
Light brings life, like photosynthesis.
Activity, right? There's a lot more going on. What are some other aspects of day?
You can see.
Yeah, you can see. Can see easily, right? And what are some aspects of night?
Dark, colder.
So it's dark, it's colder.
You do rest.
Rest, yeah. Kind of a time for rest. What else? Just qualities of nighttime.
It's quiet. Quiet.
It's quiet. There's a moon. You can see a moon. Different, right?
Yep.
Night and day are different. Not the same. And yet they're driven by the sun, aren't they? The sun is driving the cycle. The shadow of the sun is night. The direct experience of the sun is day. Too much sun all the time, there's no life. Too much night all the time, there's no life. It takes both. And so the experience of the sun is different. It's not like people here, they're experiencing no sun because all that warmth is coming here. It's not. What's the temperature in space? Isn't it like
Cold.
minus 270 degrees? It's cold. It's cold in space, right? But it's not that cold at night, right? It's just a different experience. And so the people in the night can say, I'm experiencing the sun like this. People in the day can say, I'm experiencing the sun like this. Both are experiencing the sun, and if we lose sight of this, what ends up happening is the sun is very big, right? The sun is infinite, or it's not infinite, but it's huge. It's bigger than we can really think. The sun is that big. These people aren't wrong. These people aren't wrong. Now, if you're like on a different part of the globe, right? You know, the seasons, it might be summer here, and it might be winter here. Probably winter here, right? Winter and summer. Seasons are opposite. They say, oh, this is what the sun's like. They say, no, this is what the sun is like. You're wrong. That's what humans do. But the astronomers that understand the sun they know that it's just physics, you know, they're just different. And so, when it comes to severe addiction and mental health, it is absolutely critical that you develop a high resource state. So I'm not here as some preacher, I'm just explaining the trauma therapy aspect of this. So in order to heal, you need to develop a high resource state, because in a person, their pain is really high and they have very little support or strength. And so the pain or the stress or whatever, right? This is scary. It's a big tiger and it's going to eat you. Stay away from it. Don't touch it. Don't touch the tiger. The pain of all the times and all the bad things and the not enough good things and all that stuff, it's a lot. So you avoid it. You drink and you drug or you gamble or you do things to get away from it. But it doesn't work. The pain continues to get worse and worse the more you do that. So what they realized in AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is in order for a person to confront their demons and the things that bother them, they need to develop a high resource state. That's what step 1, 2, and 3 are about. A high resource state. And so you do step 1. We admitted we were powerless over whatever our problem is. Chronic pain, fatigue, emotional stability. Admit powerless over I just can't find the right man because I always pick someone who beats me up. Or powerless over alcohol or addiction or depression or whatever is ruining your life, right? We admitted we were powerless. When you do that, you level up your resource state. Because you're opening the door for something else. And in step 2, realizing there's something else up there, you level it up some more. It's a gentle process. This isn't the time to debate with somebody on what's God really like. Because people are dying. So would you rather someone, I was at a yoga conference, like kind of hippie thing, and I've done a lot of yoga training, and a debate came out about methadone, and some yoga teacher lady was saying, yeah, you know what, this methadone stuff, it's this, it's that, it's bad. And then they all knew that I was the addiction doctor, and they were like, "What's your opinion?" I'm like, "You can't do yoga if you're dead." So some people need some meds to but I'm very clear, methadone is not a treatment. You can't just give an alcoholic alcohol and think they're going to understand deep issues about their life. But it may buy time, and thing is, alcohol rarely kills you in one setting. It'll kill you in the long run, whereas an opiate overdose ends you when you're 20. Maybe you were meant to get it at 25, but you're dead at 20. So that's an aside, but people ask me, holistic recovery for all, does that mean like you don't give any drugs, or you like everyone gets high on marijuana? And that's not holistic recovery for all. Holistic recovery for all is meeting people where they're at, and that includes on the question of what's a higher power. This is where religion really messes it up, because they're very, 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 very strict about what this means. Is this Vaheguru? Is this Allah? Is this the Holy Ghost? Is this Jesus? Is this and is Jesus black or is Jesus white? There's all sorts of these like questions, and then that creates the divisiveness. It's like, well, God is my way and your way is wrong, and what that ends up doing to someone who has a lot of pain, they don't get a resource out of it. It's just another source of oppression, because it's the conceptions of spirituality that we have. Part of the big problem we have as a society is because people don't like the conceptions of religion and God that they were born into, and they have trauma from that, and they need to heal that. One way or the other, you got to heal that. It doesn't matter if you raised a Christian and you got a traumatic upbringing. At some point, if you want a full life and a full experience of spirituality, you got to deal with those demons. You got to deal with those upbringing things. And whether you go back to that or not, that's second. I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But you got to deal with it. Because whatever you find, it's going to come and find you there. And so in the 12 steps, the third step is we asked God, as we understood them, for help. Essentially, I paraphrased it. And in doing that, if you've developed an appropriate conception, so for some people, this is like the vastness of the universe. One person was telling me they look at the sky and they just feel relaxed. They say God, that word, and they feel stressed out. So remember that when you are dealing with really big infinity, this is the symbol for infinity. We'll draw it over here. When you're dealing with infinity, whatever perspective one person has on something really big is going to have to be different than what another person has. Even people inside the same religion, because people can't be inside each other's head, right? Every human experiences the life in a unique way, different way. Every human experiences life in a unique way, and that includes their spirituality. Don't think for a second other people are experiencing what you experience. It's different. Two people in the same congregation or sitting, and they're praying, and they're like happy, but you ask them the details of what they're feeling, it's going to be different. It has to be different because it's a unique time-limited experience of something that's so vast it's uncountable. So like it's someone once said to me, let's say there's a really, really big elephant. Now I'm not very good at drawing elephants, but I'm just gonna, has a kind of eye there, big long snout here, and 4 legs. And a tail, right? Big elephant. Now, elephants that are really big, if you look at the elephant from here, this perspective, what's this person going to mostly see? A little human sitting here. Yeah. And this person is going to be, an elephant is a trunk.
A trunk?
A trunk.
Oh,
A trunk, like a snout.
I thought you said
This-
trunk.
This, if a human is standing here, looking, what's this human going to say? The elephant is a what? It's a big foot thing. That's an elephant. If someone's up here, this person's going to be like, what's this person going to say? It's like a head. It's not, they're not even know that's a head. It's going to be like, it's just like a flat thing. This person's going to say that it's a tail. Are any of them wrong? No one's wrong. They're all right, and they're all incomplete. Because it's a really big thing, no one person can see it all. And so, when people who are really hurt in their life, and they need strength, you have to understand, AA has worked for people who've tried religion. Like they've gone to church every Sunday, they've prayed 5 times a day, they've done that and they still can't stop the drugs. And they attend and they do a program, and all of a sudden, they're able to stop the drugs. I'm just telling you how that works. And how that works is simply when we give people permission at the beginning, yeah, you know what? They're seeing something really big, and for them, it's the night sky. So this person looks at really, really big thing, and all they can appreciate is the night sky is really big, and it makes them feel good when they look at it. That's a good higher power. Another person, they say, they say, this is God. They feel relief. Another person, they say tree. They feel it when they hug a tree. That's a good starting point, because eventually a starting point.
I'm leaving yet to tomorrow, to next week.
Okay,
Sorry.
go.
Okay.
Next week, so the thing is that we all have to start somewhere. And when we start somewhere, it's like a big river. So there's a big river, right? And somebody is afraid of the big river. It's really deep. It's really scary. It's a big river. And so they're not willing to even go near it. But this little stream, this doesn't look too big. It looks okay. So they start going there. They're okay going there. This thing, they're never going to touch that. It's too scary, it's too big. Their friend drowned in it. They watched their father get sick. So whatever, right? Whatever the trauma history is. But they're willing to start at this little stream. And if they follow that stream and keep following it, they get stronger and stronger, and then as they get closer and closer, the stream gets bigger and bigger, wider and wider, and then eventually they're actually quite comfortable in the big river. So everybody can start somewhere, but we have to be willing to be open to what people's conception is. And people who are starting somewhere need to have the permission, and I'm just here to tell you, you have permission. It's your life. It's your pain. You do what you like. But if you want to heal, you really, really need to think, what does the infinite source of energy, the universe, how can you experience that? And everyone can. Everyone has something they do, something they felt, something they've done in nature, in a church, at the Gurdwara, whatever, that connects them into that. And that's a good place to start. And step 3 is simply saying this. Big tree, please help me with this problem. God, please help me with this problem. Help fix my mind and give me the courage to go forward. Because step 4, so when you do step 3 and you're thorough about it, it'll put you a little bit above your pain. Which then, now the scary tiger will no longer be scary. It'll be something that's manageable. And then you can proceed to step 4. When you get to this level, you get greater than the pain, then step 4, where you actually start thinking, okay, what are all the bad things that I've done? What are all those things? You're not going to be able to do it fully unless you are adequately resourced. And why we like internal resources like this is because no one can take them away from you. You have them in jail, you have them wherever, on the street, in the shelter, in your relationship, in your home. They're independent of external reality, and which is always changing. Step 3 is simply asking for that help. Step 1 is admitting that you need help. Step 2 is, thinking. Maybe there is something out there. And that's where you really need to think to yourself. And the best way to figure out what is out there for you is to just engage with that and see if it takes your stress from here and brings it here. If it does, it probably is that. As long as your higher power is not crack or drugs or gambling, don't do that. That's not going to work, right? I don't have to say that, but I probably should. But if you sitting on a chair makes you feel relaxed in that experience, then you can connect to it through that. All relaxation comes from that sun. Just like night and day comes from that sun. Seasons come from that sun. Relaxation, and it all comes from that source. And so anything that you experience is like a distant stream. And if you follow it back, it will lead into the big river, which will lead into the big ocean. Life's pretty good out there in the big ocean. But if you need to start at a stream, do it. And then my final comment is the people who think they're ready for the big ocean, but they're not. Because they've always operated on what someone else told them that God was. And they prayed and they just they don't get to the deeper connection. That's cool. If they don't have an addiction, if their life is okay, I have no problem with those people. But if they have a problem and that problem's not getting better, they're probably a person who's in the big river, who's not ready to be in the big river, who's just kind of there because everyone else is there, or there because they have a lot of dissociative kind of tendencies. If you're in the big river, it should give you an incredible power to confront the pain in your life. That's the evidence of being in a bigger river. And everyone should be humble to examine their own connection with that. Because ultimately, if you go into serious self-examination without being adequately resourced, you unleash a tiger on you. And that's gonna reenact some trauma. And that's one of the reasons why 12-step programs, people don't succeed. They work the steps, they don't have a thorough 1, 2, and 3, and they unleash the tiger. They sort of get traumatized, and they don't finish step 4. And then they leave the whole thing, and then they muddle around doing different things. And maybe some of them can get sober. But if you're going to do it this way, and it's a good way to do it, but just know that this takes time. And it's very important. And for some people, this is enough to actually get sober, enough to do that stuff. Actually, for most people. So that's my comment on step 3. So any questions or comments about this?
ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਟੈਪ 1 ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਾਵਰਲੈਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਸਟੈਪ 2 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਸਕਿੰਗ ਫॉर ਹੈਲਪ ਔਰ
Yep. In step 2, we're asking for help. Or no, step 2, we are realizing that we need the help. So, ਦੂਜਾ step ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਹਾਂ ਮਦਦ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਦਦ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ. ਕਈ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆਪੇ ਕਰਨਾ. ਤੇ step 1 ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆਪੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ. You can't do it alone. Step 2 ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਣਾ that kuch ਹੋਰ ਬਾਹਰ ਹੈਗਾ. Something is out there that can help you. So the question is step 1 is realizing you can't do it on your own. Step 2 is realizing that there's something else that can help you. So kuch ਹੋਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਦਦ ਉਹ ਮਦਦ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ. ਕਈ ਤਾਂ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਟੁੱਟਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਵਿੱਚ. ਉਹ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. So a lot of people, their faith is gone. They've prayed 1,000 times and nothing's happened, and so they've said God doesn't exist, or if God exists, He doesn't care about me. So then they don't ask, and that's a common block. So ek block hai jehda common hai. And then step 3 is actually asking, and yeah, you may say yeah, this is like basic. Actually breaking it down into step 1, 2, and 3 makes it so that you are thorough, which makes it more likely you'll get enough strength that you'll proceed. So this is actually an excellent question. So both vadiya question hai, kyunki log just siddha karde. People just say, universe, take this addiction away, and they don't have a strong enough connection, so it doesn't work in a way that's perceivable. Maybe if they say that 1,000,000 times it'll work, but they're going to be dead long before that. So the steps are a way to deal with the blocks and have a more fast development of a connection. And it doesn't take long if you're mindful and direct about it. Okay, Ji? Good question.
So invariably, what A may believe as his own God will be different from what B believes as his own God. As much as you recognize your own independent God, just seek for help.
Yes, that's right. The definition of addiction person is extreme self-centeredness. I am all that matters. My needs are more important than everyone else's. So the biggest block that person has to deal with is stopping that and saying, oh, I can't do that. That's a hard thing. If you've been doing this your whole life, I can solve it, and you saying I can't, that'll make you break down and cry a lot. These are big steps. Okay, I can't do it. Maybe someone else can. That further breaks the self-centeredness. Wow, something else out there is more powerful than me? What? And then step 3, okay, I'm going to ask that for some help. Last time we talked about how for a lot of people asking for help means weakness. And so that's another break. And if you break those 3 blocks, you will have access to a lot more energy. And then, you know, in AA isn't like these 12-step things, it's not anti-religion. They say very clearly, work with religion. They say very clearly in the thing, don't look down on other people's religion. Don't look down on your own. Priests and stuff, they have something useful to teach you. Imams, like, they can teach you things. ਉਹ ਕੁਝ ਸਿਖਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗ੍ਰੰਥੀਆਂ ਵਗੈਰੇ. Don't look down on any of them. Don't look down on anybody. But start at the basics, because people with severe problems have to start at the basics. So the religious people can't and shouldn't expect too much. These basics are very hard. And they're hard for good reasons. Bad trauma, bad experiences, no role modeling, right? That's what creates the problem. So we start slow. So step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 4, and then, you know, at step 11 is when they, you know, a person has worked through all the things they've said, they've worked through the things, and then they have to maintain it and grow it. So now they're ready now they'll get more out of the regular programming of religion. But this is the power of drugs and alcohol and gambling and stuff. It takes away the brain's ability to really work on these things. And so nothing about the 12 steps is anti anyone's religion. I'm a religious guy. But this has been good. I do this. And every time I think to myself, yeah, there's little parts of me that do think I got control. There's little parts of me that don't recognize, you know, Vaheguru as like a bit able. I discovered one a year ago. I was like, whoa, there's a part of me that's like dissociated off that actually really, you know, is phobic of religion and God and stuff. And so I would always get sleepy every time I was doing a certain prayer, and it would put me out like a light. And it was another part of me that was tucked away somewhere. And that's what dissociation does. Don't think your mind is unified. It's all little parts are everywhere. Trillions of bits of information stored. And some of those parts do not have access to these high resource states. I've been meditating for a long time. Meditating, praying, this and that, and yet it's still there. Every human has little parts of them that are not on board with healing. And so that's why it's a journey. That's why you're going to meet teachers and people, places, things that guide you in the path of healing. And so for a lot of people with addiction, this program and these steps are a way for them to start. So that's all I have to say today on step 1, 2, and 3. So these are the foundational steps, and obviously at NAM we focus for those who are interested. But as you can see, being very open-minded, I've met lots of people who are atheists, and yet they're able actually to do these things. It's about how do you frame it, how do you conceptualize it, how do you make it individualized, and then at the end of it, they're soft. In order to heal, you have to have a harmonious and open relationship with the energy of the universe. That's just how it is. And so, building that, we just have to go slow and meet where people are at. And that's what we do at NAM, but that's what a lot of places do. A lot of healing centers, a lot of treatment centers, they start gentle and they have their ways. And so it's universal. All of this stuff is very universal, and you can. It's very applicable to the recovery from both addiction and mental health, as I say. So that's step 3. Thank you.